And welcome to another episode of Chokeslam Wrestling Report. Today we are going to be talking about the TNT title. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw what happened on Wednesday and what the hell is AEW doing as far as trying to book this double or nothing. Also, we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. Believe it or not, yes, we have a new power couple in Impact Wrestling and what happened at Rebellion and Nick Aldis back in Impact. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk a little bit of WWE and much more. So stay tuned to the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.
We came out here to tell you to your face, you can't get ready for us. No, sir.
Oh my God! They killed Kitty! You bastard!
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, episode 136. Yes, believe it or not, 136. And we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, especially what happened in AEW on this past Wednesday. But before I start, guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also check out the audio podcast. We're going to be also on the audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and any audio podcast platforms you got like to listen to my show. Also, you can also check out my merchandise website. That is TCWR veryimpressive.com. That's TCWR.veryimpressive.com. So let's start it off real quick now. This week in AEW, we saw the TNT title change hand and whatnot. Oh my God, I'm sorry. You hear the other part of um, I click my phone and you see me on YouTube Live. Anyway, so this week again, we got to see uh, stuff that I kind of like. I don't know. I'm kind of questioning what's going on in AEW. First of all, we saw the TNT title again change hands once again and whatnot. And this is what, probably this year alone, about the fifth, sixth time that the TNT title has changed hands. But let me tell you something. The TNT title has become a freaking joke. And I don't know what else to say. The TNT title has become probably a 24/7 title now, all of a sudden. And the question is, why in the hell they didn't leave the title with Powerhouse Hobbs? Powerhouse Hobbs had a momentum going. Now, it is not Powerhouse Hobbs' fault that they put him with QT Marshall. Why did they put him with QT Marshall and his group of goons and clowns? It didn't make no sense to begin with. Powerhouse Hobbs has the Book of Hobbs, and they should have ran with that, the Book of Hobbs. But instead, they didn't do that. Powerhouse Hobbs probably had the belt probably what? The probably not even a month and a half, probably, because he won the title right off after Revolution, 3 days after Revolution. So that was what, March? So he only had the belt for a month. The TNT title has become a joke and whatnot. It has become a joke. And there is nothing else you can say about this. You know what I'm saying? They Warlow, Warlow, I used to be a big fan of Warlow. Now Warlow has become a joke to me. They're not they're not pushing him like the way it's supposed to. And when I and what I'm cringing right now, just the thought of it. The fact that Bill Goldberg is still a free agent. He's talking about he's doing an independent tour for his retirement match because WWE never gave him a retirement match. So now, are we gonna see Warlow against Bill Goldberg at All In? That's gonna be horrible. That's gonna be horrible to think about. I mean, and then the AEW Dynamite started off this week again. Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and a promo. Uh, and these two guys, when they got on the mic, I mean, it became boring. It wasn't as exciting when they first went in there with MJF, and then MJF then came out and made some sort of tournament. I mean, it looks like MJF is running AEW, whatever, because he's making up tournaments and whatnot on his own accord. You know, it just didn't doesn't make no sense. He's calling the shots. So now we had a tournament with one of the three pillars who was not the champion, according to MJF's the champion, who gets a first round bye. So we had the Sammy Guevara against Jungle Boy, and that was supposed to be the main event. That alone, um, I was like, okay, they teased for the last couple of weeks. They've been teasing a 4-way with the pillars from AEW. Now all of a sudden, here we are. Now there's a tournament. Darby Allin got a pass. He gets the rest of the winner of that Wednesday night main event. So we, you know, right there, that to me, I was like, ugh. That was flag number one. Flag number two, the Outcast storyline. To me, the Outcast storyline, the Outcast overall project is a failure. Tony Khan, instead of using the females he had as far as the Outcast, and you could have done it like an NWO type and whatnot, and push it to that level, make it seem like these females are terrorizing the girls in the back. But no, every week they put in Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale, or if it wasn't Willow Nightingale, it was Riho to fight the Outcast, and they would get beat every week and whatnot. And finally, they put Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter to wrestle the Outcast, which is Ruby Soho and Tony Storm, to go at it with Saraya on the outside. And at the end of that, we saw Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter beat the Outcast. And I'm saying, okay, so now what? This storyline is over. You can't push this storyline anymore. You just defeated the Outcast. Now what? So it didn't make no sense to me at all. It didn't make no sense to me and whatnot. I'm looking at my notes here because I'm just going through what I saw this past Wednesday. Then we see a promo where they have Wardlow in the back getting interviewed. All of a sudden, R. Anderson pops out of nowhere and mentions something about the Four Horsemen. And I'm saying to myself, okay, cool. Now, about 3 years ago, I made a video where I said that the AEW should bring the Four Horsemen, or we're going to see the Four Horsemen. Yeah, I mentioned Sean Spears, FTR, and Cody Rhodes. Now, Sean Spears was, figure, well, but I figured Sean Spears could be in that group. It never happened. Now, all of a sudden, we have R. Anderson getting teamed up with Wardlow as his manager, and he's doing this Glock thing and whatnot, which makes no sense, though. They're still running with this from 2 years ago. And I'm saying, okay, so what I'm seeing now is Wardlow has a manager, and his name is R. Anderson. So he'll probably accompany him down there and whatnot. And when it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. My phone's going off. I don't know why everybody's bothering me today, right now when I'm doing this podcast. But anyway, so then they had the Elite promo, which I'm more excited about that than anything. We saw the Elite promo, and then next thing you know, the BCC or John Moxley music comes out, and BC, Blackpool Combat Club attacks the Elite from behind. They start battling outside, and at one point, Kenny Omega is getting, outnumbered, and Brian Danielson comes out, and then you see Don Callis come out with a chair, like he's gonna do something. He goes back, and then he brings Kanusuke Takeshita to come help the Elite. And I said this 2 weeks ago, and I said we are gonna see Takeshita be part of the Blackpool Combat Club. He's going to betray the Elite. I see it happening, and I even see Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega because you remember last couple of weeks before this whole Blackpool Combat Club situation, even when the Blackpool Combat Club attacked the Young Bucks, you saw Don Callis kept telling Kenny Omega, "Don't worry about the Young Bucks, you concentrate on you and blah blah blah." And we're gonna see Don Callis turn on Kenny Omega, and especially the history that these guys have. I could go back before the pandemic, before Kenny Omega went to Impact Wrestling. There was a match where Kenny Omega was in Canada. I think it was in Winnipeg, and Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega. Now, is it possible? Yes, it's going to be possible. I see it, and guess what? And the reason I'm saying this because then it's Takeshita goes join the Blackpool Combat Club, and I could see it because him and Brian Danielson has a little history. Okay, remember that I just said that Brian Danielson helped Takeshita. Takeshita did the same thing when Brian Danielson was feuding with MJF. Right? We could see no other than Kota Ibushi coming in as the fifth member because remember there's a fourth member in the Elite, and that is Hangman Page. He hasn't been seen in a couple of weeks, but we could see it happening. Okay, but as like I said before, we could see Kota Ibushi come in, and maybe it may not happen at Double or Nothing, but it could happen at All In. Now remember, Kota Ibushi participated on the first All In, which he teamed up with the Young Bucks. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was a three-way. I could be wrong, but Kota Ibushi was part of the Golden Elite back in 2017, 2018. So, um, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You can't. You can't go wrong with. I could see it happening and whatnot. So, you know, let's see what happens. Another situation again. After that, that's when we saw Wardlow and Hobbs, and again, this match was quick. They made Wardlow look like he was much superior than Hobbs. They just totally killed Hobbs' momentum. That's all I gotta say. Why did they team him with QT Marshall? The minute I saw that was a bad move. Bad move. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say that I don't take shots at AEW. AEW's been like dropping the ball. And if I don't know what they're trying to build for Double or Nothing, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I still will order it, whatever, because that's part of my job, whatever, as part of my podcast. But I don't know. Jay White's AEW debut versus Commander was a good one. Jay White uh, had a great match with Commander. The only thing I don't like Commander is he's too always concentrating on the ropes, doing too much acrobatic stuff. Now there was a situation he did during the match with Jay White where he walked the top rope, did some whatever while Jay White looked at him. This been going on for years. Okay, and the wrestling fans, of course, the trolls, the clowns, in the wrestling community. Oh, but he just looked at him while he walked. The Undertaker used to do this crap all the time, where he walked down the rope and then he chopped the guy on the head. Okay, and Phantasmo does this on occasion in Japan. See, but the thing is, everybody wants to complain about crap when it comes to AEW. If it's WWE, it's fine. But with AEW, oh, the guy, Commander was walking the ropes and Jay White was looking at him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you really serious? So they made a big thing about that. At the end, Jay White ends up winning the match. But the most interesting part that I saw that and during that match was Sean Spears just standing in the crowd. And after the match, him and Juice Robinson started going at it. I don't know what's the purpose of that. I don't know if Juice Robinson and Sean Spears had beef before, but then it became a 2-on-1, and then Ricky Starks joins in. So now it looks like Ricky Starks has a ally. I'm not saying a friend, but an ally in that little feud he has with Juice Robinson. So then they had the Mark Briscoe FTR segment. I don't understand what I totally forgot that Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal wants him to team up with him, which I mean, to me, I'm like, okay, whatever. Then they had the Chris Jericho and the Adam Cole promo. They were going at it back and forth onto. I could not believe what I was seeing with my eyes, and that was uh Britt Baker coming to save Adam Cole from JAS because Danny Garcia attacked Adam Cole once. Uh, Adam Cole and Jericho finished their promo and they started going at it. He started stomping on Jericho. They put the handcuffs, of course, handcuffs on Adam Cole while Britt Baker was trying to save him. She gets attacked by no other than the Outcast, the same team they lost to her and Jamie Hayter. And my thing was, what is the point of that whole segment? So let me get this straight. You had the Outcast, a failed project. Now you want to team them up with the JAS. Okay? Team them up with JAS, which makes no damn sense because in case people forgot, the Outcasts are supposed to be the ones that don't like the homegrown AEW. JAS has two homegrown AEW women, and that's Ty Conti, whatever her name is now, what she goes by, and Anna Jay. Again, not making no sense. I don't know what Tony Khan was smoking on Wednesday. Usually AEW is on the ball. This week, last 2 weeks, they have not been on the ball. So it didn't make no sense to me. They tried to put, and I'm going to say it, they tried to pull a WWE move with Judgment. Remember when Judgment Day, where I think Finn Balor and Edge wrestled in an I Quit match, and Edge had to say I quit because uh, they had attacked Beth Phoenix from behind. I believe it was Rhea Ripley, and they were about to hit her with the concerto, and they still hit Beth Phoenix with the concerto. This was exactly the same shit, the same thing. Anybody could tell me otherwise, please tell me if I'm wrong. But that's exactly what I saw and what reminded me of. Okay? Which it was horrible. And then right after that, they ended up putting a match which didn't make another shit didn't make no sense in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. Because then all of a sudden we had JAS, Parker, and Daddy Magic against the Acclaim. And I believe it was Jake Hager against the Acclaim Billy Gunn. I didn't care. Don't care for that storyline. Makes no sense. The Acclaim were the flavor of the month. They were world champions, tag team champions, and now they got them feuding with the JS. Okay, which didn't make no sense to me. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, this was up. So far, that show was totally horrible. Then we had the main event, which didn't make no sense either, because then at the end, Jungle Boy loses to Sammy Guevara because you ready for this? MJF helped him because MJF. I forgot to mention that during the broadcast, MJF gave him a blank Sammy Guevara a blank check, and he said, "Well, put whatever you want to write, whatever." And supposedly now Sammy Guevara and MJF, came to some agreement. So now Jungle Boy loses the match. Darby's in the rafters, shaking his head. I believe, and somebody made sense of it. Maybe at the end, MJF is gonna. This is all gonna blow up in MJF's face because I think they're still gonna do the four pillars for Double or Nothing. You cannot tease this shit and not put it because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So we'll see if it happens. We'll see what it happens. So also, so let's jump in real quick on Impact Pro Wrestling and Impact Pro Wrestling. Uh, anything they had Rebellion. I did not watch it, but I did see the results. I was happy for one particular female, Diana Perrazzo, who I love to death. Diana Perrazzo is one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm glad she's still in Impact. And she became, I believe, the third time Knockouts champion by defeating the girl who I cannot stand, Jordan Grace. Yeah, I'm gonna say it because she is nasty in real life, in public. So I'm glad she beat her. And Deonna Purrazzo is the Knockouts champion again. But was really interesting was that her husband, Steve Macklin, became the Impact World Champion when he defeated Kushida for the for the vacant title, which of course Josh Alexander had to relinquish because of injury. But an interesting situation that arose from Impact was the fact that Steve Macklin attacked Scott Demore and whatnot. And before that match started, of Steve Macklin and Kushida, Mr. Nick Aldis announced that he had signed with Impact Wrestling. Now, it was shocking to see Mr. Nick Aldis back because I figured he'll probably be in AEW or, maybe WWE. I knew he was not going to WWE, especially with Bruce Pritchard in there, the same man that disrespected his wife. So he wasn't going to WWE. So there you go, WWE again. Misses out on a good wrestler. I saw Mr. Nick Aldis back in December against Jacob Fatu at House of Glory. It was a good match. I think that Fatu got hurt in that match and whatnot. So also, but Nick Aldis being Impact Pro Wrestling is a very interesting situation and whatnot. But let me say real quick, the power couple of Macklin and Deonna Purrazzo, I think them being being not tag team, but them being the world champions in their respective division is gonna push maybe Impact a little further. Now they just added Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis could push Impact out of that damn decade old Dixie Carter cloud that they've been in for God knows how many years. It's been 10 years already since Dixie was around. And now this is an opportunity for Impact to make noise. The only thing is, Impact likes to do things. I believe they're doing a pay-per-view, I think in May, and I think it's the same night or the same weekend the AEW is doing Double or Nothing. Um, Honestly, I don't know what's the problem with Impact. They never get out of that dark cloud. They are working with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They are planning to do a multiverse part two. I believe is in August with New Japan. So that's a good sign for them. But if you look at their programming is not great at all. Okay, they're picking up Santino Marella being there. I don't know why is he there. You got Tommy Dreamer still around, and I know Tommy Dreamer's Bully Ray, another guy who it's like they live off these former uh WWE guys, and I'm like, I don't understand it. I think they could do better. You don't need to bring all these old guys. Um, Create new superstars. You know what I'm saying? You still got Eddie Edwards there. You still got Moose. You still got Sammy Callahan. Even though Sammy Callahan, all he does is gimmick matches. That hardcore extreme bullshit and whatnot. Uh, they could build something. Now you got Nick Aldis in there. And then when you got Steve Macklin, I'm happy for Steve Macklin because Steve Macklin, I believe he was one of the Retribution, if I'm not, or the Sons, or whatever they're called, the tag team that was in NXT before. But I'm glad for him because he deserved it. The guy has done Steve Macklin, I remember seeing him the first time in Impact, and I was like, this guy's going to be big. He's going to be one guy you got to watch. And I had so many fantasy book in my head with Steve Macklin, but he's now the world champion. And I said it, I had predicted it like 2 3 weeks ago. I said Steve Macklin could become the world champion, even though I didn't see it. But I said he could be the world champion because I couldn't see anybody else winning it. I didn't see Eddie Edwards winning because Eddie Edwards has won it before, so it doesn't really matter. So, um, but other than that, you know what I'm saying. Other than that, it's crazy. So, but you know, I don't know what they're gonna do with Impact as far as how far they're gonna go with. I think they could go far, especially with Nick Aldis. I see Nick Aldis being world champion. I don't see him happening real quick, but who knows? Let me read you some wrestling news and rumors. Will Ospreay was on the news this week. He said, I don't know how long this ride is going to be. He was in social media and he reflected on his injury and being cleared. He said, I got cleared 2 days ago. It's a weird one. I seen my Sio now for about 5 weeks and I got range of motion back in my arm. And he got hurt during the New Japan World Cup on his shoulder against, I believe, was his uh, Mark Davis from the Aussie Open. During that match, he got hurt. He said the strength is there somewhat, but because I was able to complete 4 strength exercise, apparently I'm medically clear. It does feel a lot better, but I feel there's still a lot of weakness in my arm. The sensible answer to take is to take a little bit more time up on. But over the last 48 hours, I've been reminiscing and think about my 11-year career. Wow, he's been around 11 years. It's been incredible, but the one thing that has been constant, especially the last few years, is that the injuries have stacked up a lot more. Recently, it's because I'm getting older, I'm getting heavier, but because the moveset that I started when I was 22 years old was has kind of vanished and disappeared. It's not by choice, it's because my body can't do it anymore. I can't perform shooting star press safely anymore, so I decided it's best to cut it out. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like my body and me personally, I'm deteriorating in front of everyone's eye. It's really upsetting, and it's because I choose to do this style. I understand the risks that come with this style, but it's one that suits me down to a T, and I think everybody enjoys it. I don't know if this ride is going to be a long one. If anyone understands what I mean, I didn't think it reached this far in my career anyway. I'm just going to enjoy myself and hope for the best. I'm going to have to change a lot of things, but I'm going to compete and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the best of my ability to do this as much as I physically can. I don't know how long this ride is going to be. I'm going to be honest. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. That's all. Much love, he said. Uh, Mark Davis from you know, from Aussie Off in response to AEW Rampage viewership, he said, "Hey Tony, I got your Wembley headliner. I'm telling you, Aussie Open. A lot of people see them in Dynamite and they'll see them as a good tag team, but you guys have not followed Aussie Open. I've been following Aussie Open since 2019, and these guys are no joke. The first time I saw them, they were going against the Gorillas of Destiny, and they gave the Gorillas of Destiny kind of scare a couple of times and whatnot. So nothing to be, doubt. Oh, they're not all that. They just added, gold. As a matter of fact, they just won the New Japan Strong Tag Team titles by beating the Motor City Machine Gun on Philadelphia Collision. So that's last Saturday. Also, Lance Archer beat I forgot who he beat, but he's up. He's gonna be the guy gonna be probably wrestling Omega for the United States title. Tanahashi is hurt. I heard that he's not gonna be competing to the road to wrestling Dontaku, so he's out. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to wrestle May 26th. I think. Well, I think he should be able to because that Dontaku is May 5th, I think. So it'll be 3 weeks after, but who knows? So we'll see. Court Bauer, an MLW owner, says that Richard Holiday is a free agent. Now you don't know, God. If you guys don't remember, Richard Holiday came out with cancer. He used to be Alex Hammerstone tag team partner of the Dynasty, along with MJF back in the days. He has not wrestled, I believe, since September when he came out with cancer. So he's now a free agent. So he's not going to be out there. But who knows? It's going to take time for him to come back to wrestling. Who knows? Speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiromu Takahashi said he would love to be at AEW New Japan Forbidden Door 2. He says that he's interested in being in the event. He said also, since I'm an American, let me tell you this, I could go, but there will be Forbidden Door this year, right? Maybe in June, Forbidden Door. I'd love to be there. I never thought that All Star Junior Festival that we did in Japan would be held here in Philadelphia. I'm sure Rocky did a great job with this. I heard Rocky Romero say he wanted to do it after watching the first show. I didn't think it would be held here in Philadelphia. I'm so excited. So it looks like Hiromu Takahashi wants to, uh, you know, wrestle at New Japan Forbidden Door. He was supposed to. Hiromu got hurt last year, so he wasn't able to wrestle. Goldberg claimed that WWE owns him a retirement match. I brought that up earlier. Anyway, he's a clown. Anyway, so speaking of Wrestling Dontaku, it's May 3rd. The card for that already has the World Heavyweight Champion Sonata versus Hiromu Takahashi. The Never Openweight Championship, Tamatanga versus David Finlay. I see David Finlay beating Tamatanga for that belt. The Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Champion Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, and Ren Narita against Okada and two of members that will be announced from Chaos probably. The New Japan World Television Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. will defend his title against Jeff Cobb. The New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, Kenta will put his title on the line versus Hikuleo. Naito, Takagi, and Bushi versus Taishi, Kanemaru, and Duki. Shota Umino, Kushida, and Kevin Knight versus Aaron Hanari, Francisco Akira, and TJP. The Michael Nichols, Shane Hayes, and Koshi Fujita versus Great Khan and Aussie Open. Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi Toru Yano, and Yo versus Evil, Juhiro Takahashi, Sho, and Dick Togo. So that will be the card for May 3rd. Mercedes Monet says rumors of New Japan Pro Wrestling deal expiring after the next match are from the truth. She said the rumors are so far from the truth. She said if it's not coming from me on my voice, then how does anyone else know my business? None of it is true unless it's coming from me. It's just a reminder that I'm a conversation starter. This is my new home. She's not going nowhere. So a lot of people love to talk a lot of crap, and most of the time they just want to talk. You know, WWE this week, I saw a little bit of it. The most stupidest thing I saw in WWE this week in Raw was Cody Rhodes went to do a promo, and Adam Pearce came to the ring and said that he was not medically clear. What's funny is, I love how WWE tries to insult people's intelligence. If he wasn't medically clear, what is he wearing wrestling trunks and boots for? And then to make it more dumb, if he's not medically clear, he took out almost 37 security because he wanted to get after Brock Lesnar. This whole storyline becoming stupid. But I also heard Bully Ray on Buster Radio claim that they might be the whole storyline is they might pull obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle to Cody Rhodes or to next WrestleMania where he will defeat Roman Reigns. The shit does not make no fucking sense. So let me just tell me you're gonna have Roman Reigns as champion from now all the way to who is gonna wrestle from here to WrestleMania? Doesn't make no fucking sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense at all. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. It's just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. They messed up this whole bloodline storyline. For what? Okay? For what? All you had to do was have Cody beat Roman for the belt, and his story would have been done. The story of him was him becoming the world champion, something that his father never did. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And now, so we're gonna wait till next year to see him beat Roman Reigns. Anybody's gonna spend money in Philadelphia for this WrestleMania shit. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. So it is what it is. But that is it for me today, guys. I want to thank you for coming through, checking out the podcast, checking out the channel. Again, guys, if you wanna follow me on on social media, you can follow my podcast and any other audio podcast. Also, the audio podcast, also you will be listening to this. But you guys can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also, you can follow my audio podcast, which will be the same thing as this. You can follow me on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, Google Podcasts. You can follow me on any audio podcast, iHeartRadio, any podcast, audio podcast that you like to listen to your favorite show. You can find me there. Also, guys, check out my subscribe to the channel. That's number one. Hit that notification bell. Share the content. Let your friends know about my my channel. Also, you guys could go to my store, to my podcast store at TCWR, veryimpressive.com. That's TCWR, veryimpressive.com. I just said TCWR.veryimpressive.com. I can't talk today. It's been a weird. And this is the part about when you do it live stuff. You mess up, you got to go with it. Can't go back, turn it off, whatever. But then you can follow me there. Again, guys, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Every week I bring you new episode. And again, thank you for all the support. Until next week, guys, I am out of here. Again, one more time. Please support the podcast, support the store, and I will see you guys next week.